Welcome back to part 4 of my Acer Racer electric conversion. Last time I had only one electric motor, now I have two. Both are EV Warrior motors. One spins counterclockwise, the other one spins clockwise, which gives them roughly the same RPM on both sides when they're under load. I also have added on this step-up converter. It actually takes the voltage from my 12-volt battery and puts it to roughly around 24 volts. I think it's actually more like 23.9 or so volts when it comes out. But that feeds into my little speed controller right here, and then that goes through 4 wires to the 2 motors. I found already that the limiting factor is now my step-up converter, because it pumps out 30 amps continuous. Brings in, actually this battery here can do a continuous 30 amps, and then this outputs at 30 amps continuous, so it's supposed to more or less normalize the power stream when it comes out. But I found that under load, if I need, or with this speed controller, it's not as advanced as maybe some other speed controllers on the market. It's more or less it just dumps a bunch of current in, and so when you're telling it to go at a certain speed, it will try to pull as much current as it needs to in order to achieve that speed. And so that's got a couple problems, in that it will burn up the motors if I'm, for some reason, like I've stopped more or less, or I'm slowing down because I'm going up a hill. So it'll keep dumping more and more charge into the motors to do that. But as a limiting factor, this step-up converter will actually max out at 30 amps, and so the fuse inside of it will just kind of like trip, and it will stall and shut off. So then I have to kind of give it a minute or two to reset itself, and then the system will come back on. So next step I think I'll do after this is maybe even after I test drive it, buy a second lithium iron phosphate battery, just put it in 24 volts and do the voltage that way. I would actually like to do a third one and do series and get 36 volts, because then at 36 volts and 30 amps, I should get, what is that, in the realm of 1080 watts for each motor, which would be lovely. But I don't know if that'll actually happen, because I don't know if these motors will are capable of that type of wattage, because I think they're rated for up to 60 amps, actually at 24 volts. Which is actually even more. But the problem with it, as I keep going up and up and up in amperage, I need to get thicker wire. So I actually would love to just do more voltage at some point. But that's just difficult because I don't have the money to buy more batteries of this type. I could always go back to lead acid, but I really don't want to do that because it's not as environmentally friendly. So Go-Kart still doesn't look any different, really. It's still bare metal, sanded down. I put 2 new tire or inner tubes into these 2 rear tires, so now they're actually holding 30 psi, which is great. And this go-kart is still very heavy. It's a steel frame, so it's not the lightest go-kart ever. So if I could maybe lighten it up some, that would be great, because it is very heavy and it really puts a lot of strain on the motor. So so I want to show you real quick what this looks like when it's turned on. So I've got still my same master power switch here. Actually turn on the radio first, because otherwise it starts to freak out. And so that is now on, and then master power switch on. That guy is running great. And so this is 24 volts at 30 amps. That's forward, and then hold. And reverse. So it actually has a good amount of RPM when it's at full throttle. At 24 volts, it should pump out, or should be traveling around 4,200 RPM. at the motor, and then it's gear reduced down, which I'm not quite sure what my conversion is at this moment, but I will get that for the next video. But I want to give you a quick update on the go-kart. Next up, I'm going to see if I can do another battery or two, and then I've also discussed looking into a larger motor. A couple of viewers have mentioned that, which would be my next, I think, next logical progression in this, if I wanted to go to one large motor that does much higher wattage. And I also like to look into doing a brushless, one or two brushless motors on the same sides and see what that would get me. So, but next video I'm going to see if I can do a test ride and then give you some updates on the overall performance. So I hope everyone is doing well. You're staying safe. All this craziness with COVID-19. I hope everyone is staying safe, and you and your families are doing well. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great night.